Hey, what's up YouTube fam? Brandon Weaver here once again. Today we're talking about broken leases versus evictions and how they could be on your credit report incorrectly, inaccurate information. Let's get into it. This individual writes in, subscribe tribe. I have an eviction on my report, but not sure if it can be removed. Now I'm gonna tell you what, all right? I'm gonna tell you something, okay? Anything potentially can be removed from your credit report. Lottie-dottie, everybody has the right under the FCRA to potentially have anything removed from their credit report. Don't let anybody out there tell you that it can't, okay? Potentially can. Now, can't move anywhere until it is removed, okay? This eviction is getting in their way. Forced to live with family now. I informed my previous apartment complex that I was going to leave before end of the month to avoid eviction, and did so as stated, but they still went forward with an eviction, and now it's on my credit report as of September 2018. Now, I'm gonna get into what an eviction entails, much like what a broken lease is different than an eviction, and some of the clauses that you might have in your lease that you may not even be aware of, that they don't wanna tell you, that I have found out about apartment complexes, okay? Now, the current complex is forcing me to move out due to my credit after being here for more than 3 months and having signed a lease. Can I have it removed? Please help me guide me in the right direction, thanks. Okay, so let's take this step by step. Yes, of course, anything could potentially be removed on the FCRA if it can't be verified. If it's incorrect, inaccurate information, it needs to be removed. If it's an eviction on there and it's not an eviction, it's more of a broken lease or some collection, okay? They might try to pull the collection route and say, oh, well, you know, they didn't finish paying, that's something like that. But eviction is very specific, and let me read to you what an eviction is. A tenant cannot be evicted from a rental unit without a court order. I'm gonna read that to you again. Let's rewind it. An eviction, a tenant cannot be evicted from a rental unit without a court order and a landlord's notice to vacate. It's the first step in the eviction process. Okay, so if you've already left, how did they obtain a court order and then give you that notice to vacate and go ahead and process an eviction? Yes, okay, you left prior to them being able to process an eviction, okay? To evict the tenant, the landlord must do this eviction, restart the process by giving the tenant the proper notice to vacate and getting court order. Court order, this is very specific. Okay, now if you've left prior to fulfilling your lease, and we're gonna get into some clauses that might help you in a minute, they could say, okay, well, you know, this was the lease, this is how much it's supposed to be had, this is our original signed lease, our contract with this individual, this is what they're supposed to pay. But it's different than in a court order eviction, right? And that looks different on your report than a collection. Now, I'm not saying that an apartment complex is going to say, oh, well, okay, we see this as a collection instead of an eviction. That has to be changed with the bureaus, with LexisNexis if it's there. Yes, the public record, okay? With CoreLogic could be there, with the 3 bureaus. But this is part of your process and ground that you can stand on. With the CFPB, Better Business Bureau, the Attorney General's office, a lawyer that knows tenants' rights and your tenants' rights, okay? Now, you wanna have a lease. Always try to keep a copy of your lease. I know a lot of these complexes don't like to give it. I've been at complexes, they don't like to give it. They don't want you to know, they don't want you to have it. But there are clauses in there that you may not be aware of. One of them is basically buying your way out of the contract. There are some leases that allow you to pay 2 months or 3 months and be done with your lease, no matter how much longer you have on the lease. You come in, you sign, you're like, it's been a couple of months. I know I've got 13, 14 months left on this lease. I'm gonna pay the 3 months, I'm gonna get the heck out of here. Okay, cut your losses. Of course, I'm not saying everybody should do that. I'm not saying that's right for your financial situation. I'm simply saying that is one of the clauses that could be in a lease. The other clause that they may not tell you about, and this is very, very unique and rare and something that you have to dig for, some complexes allow 30 days from when you sign the lease to try out the area, try to be in the environment, in the neighborhood, in the lease, in the complex that you lease, in the unit. And they might not tell you that, okay? There might be state laws that allow a cooling period where you sign and after 5 days you can terminate any contract. I know that there are states that allow that. Okay, so make sure you know your state's rights. Talk to an attorney if they have some legal grounds as well. The CFPB can help you with that as too. File your complaints. Now, aside from that, all that good stuff, you can still dispute with the 609 dispute letters right to the bureaus, to LexisNexis, to CoreLogic. They've got to provide you with all that information to provide, to prove that's an eviction. The court order, the notice to vacate, the original signed document with your signature on the lease saying that you terminated the lease, that it was not terminated properly, and that you were evicted by them. But you terminated the lease, it was simply a broken lease. Maybe, allegedly, maybe you gave them enough notice, and there's a clause in there that allows you to do so. But you gotta get that contract, they've gotta prove it, and they've got so much to move uphill against you. The law is on your side. If you wanna learn about this, 609creditrepair.com, or we can do the work for you at theawesomelifegroup.com. If this video helped you out, give a thumbs up, and until I see you in person, I will see you on the other side. Take care.